What kind of monster shoves a 9-year-old boy into a freezing lake just for playing with paper boats? That's the question I was screaming inside when I grabbed Sheila Voss by her pristine jacket and hurled her into the water she thought she owned. Her scream pierced the air, phones flashed, and the crowd gasped. You'd think that splash would have ended it. But trust me, it was just the beginning. What we found after Sheila hit the water didn't just humiliate a torrent, it tore our neighborhood apart in ways I never saw coming. It was a crisp morning at Crystal Lake, the kind where the sun glints off the water like it's begging you to forget your troubles. I stood by the path, arms crossed, watching my son, Noah, race paper boats with a couple of kids from down the street. His laughter was like music, cutting through the quiet, making me think we'd finally found a slice of peace. Big mistake. The sharp click of heels on pavement snapped me out of it. Sheila Voss strutted across the lawn like she was queen of the world, white blazer, oversized sunglasses, clipboard clutched like a royal decree. Trailing her were 3 guys in cheap navy polos. Lake VYEW HOA compliance, stitched on their chests, acting like they were Secret Service VYCE. Sheila didn't glance my way. She never did. Her eyes locked on Noah and the kids, like they were stains on her perfect canvas. No unauthorized active VY ties by the lake, she barked, her voice slicing through the air. Noah's laugh died mid-breath. One kid dropped his boat, the paper crumpling under his sneaker. I stepped forward, slow, deliberate. They're just kids, Sheila, I said, keeping my voice low but hard enough to cut glass. She turned to me, lips curling into a sneer. Children belong in designated zones. Non-compliance means fines or removal. She said it like she was talking about garbage, not my son. My fists clenched, knuckles popping, but I stayed put. Noah's eyes were on me, wide, trusting. I wasn't going to lose it. Not yet. Sheila waved her clipboard like a magic wand. Move or I'll move you. She snapped at the kids, her tone dripping venom. To her, they weren't people, just obstacles in her kingdom. As she stalked off, heels stabbing the grass, I made a promise deep in my gut: if she ever touched Noah, I wouldn't just fight back. I'd burn her whole world to the ground. The next day, her grip tightened. New signs sprouted along the lake overnight. Authorized active white tie only. Violators cited. Her little navy shirt army patrolled the shore, radios hissing static, acting like they owned the place. I watched from my porch, jaw grinding. Noah stayed close, folding his boats on the picnic table instead of the water's edge. Every few minutes he'd glance at the lake, longing flashing across his face, then look away, pretending it didn't hurt. Sheila had stolen something from him already, and I hadn't even swung a fist. By afternoon, she was at it again, marching through the neighborhood like a dictator on parade, clipboard slapping her thigh. Neighbors froze as she passed, smiles vanished, conversations died. She stopped to chew out a teenager for tying his kayak too close to the shore, then fined an old man for excessive garden plants. No one challenged her. I leaned against my fence, daring her to look my way. Her sunglasses slid over me like I was nothing. Keep him away from the water, she said, not even using Noah's name. I straightened, every muscle coiled. You don't own this lake, I shot back, voice like iron. She tilted her head, smirking. Ownership's just paper. Control's what matters. She thought she'd won. She had no idea how close she was to losing everything. Saturday morning came, the lake glowing under golden light, like it was daring us to forget Sheila's rules. Noah and his friends crept back to the shore, clutching their boats, their laughter soft, cautious, like they knew it was forbidden. I stayed close, posted at the dock, watching. That's when Sheila showed up, not alone. 3 of her goons flanked her, boots crunching gravel, radios clipped tight. She marched straight for the kids. Unauthorized presence, she snapped, while VYing her clipboard. Immediate corrective action. The kids froze, boats slipping from their hands. I stepped up, voice sharp. They're not hurting anything. She didn't even look at me. They're in violation, Mr. Harper. Step aside. She said my name like I was a line item. I didn't budge. Her mouth twisted into a sneer, and then, in one brutal motion, she shoved Noah hard. His small body stumbled, arms flailing, and he plunged into the icy lake. "Noah!" I roared, sprinting. The splash hit me like a punch, his shocked face even worse. 9 years old, dunked like trash. For a second, the world stopped. Sheila stood there, chin high, dusting off her blazer like she'd swatted a bug. Something in me shattered. I charged. No warning, no words. I slammed into the nearest goon, sending him sprawling. Another grabbed for me. I snapped his wrist aside, drove my fist into his ribs, and he crumpled, gasping. The third reached for a baton. I ripped it free and cracked it across his knees, dropping him. Sheila shrieked like a trapped animal. I didn't stop. In 2 strides I grabbed her blazer, lifted her off the ground, and growled. "You touched my son!" She kicked, slapped, screamed about lawsuits. I didn't care. I spun her toward the lake and hurled her in. The splash was vicious, water exploding outward. Her designer outfit soaked, mascara bleeding, she thrashed, coughing, screaming. I stood at the edge, fists clenched, breathing hard. The shore went silent. Neighbors froze, phones raised. No one helped her. Not one. Sheila flailed, her shrieks cutting the air, but no one moved. In that moment, dripping and choking, she looked as small as she'd always been inside. The crowd grew, phones still up, some neighbors half smiling, others too stunned to blink. I turned from Sheila's pathetic splashing to her scrambling goons. One, the beefy guy who'd reached for the baton, stood, blood dripping from his lip. He squared up. Mistake. I hammered a hook into his jaw, felt bone give, and watched him collapse. Another, skinnier, tried to backpedal. I ripped his radio off his belt and smashed it across his temple. He dropped, twitching. The last one ran. Smart. Sheila clawed her way out, dripping, gasping, looking like a drowned rat. "You're finished!" she shrieked, voice cracking. "I'll see you into oblivion!" I cut her off, voice low, burning. "You shoved a 9-year-old into freezing water and thought your fake rules would save you." I stepped toward her. She stumbled back, heels slipping on wet stones. "No HOA can shield you now," I growled, pointing at the crowd, the phones, the witnesses. "You don't own this lake. You don't own us." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out, just a choking cough, mascara streaking her face. The neighbors didn't help. They filmed. They watched. And somewhere in the click of record buttons, Sheila realized her empire was drowning. By sunset, the videos hit the internet. Dozens of them, different angles, same truth: Sheila Voss, Lake VYU's queen, thrown into her own lake. One title stuck. HOA tyrant tossed after attacking kid. By midnight, 200,000 VYUs. By morning, half the town had seen it, and the country wasn't far behind. My phone buzzed nonstop messages, screenshots, fist bump emojis from neighbors who'd barely nodded at me before. Sheila fought back. By noon, she stormed the community center, hair a frizzy mess, makeup caked over panic. She slammed her clipboard down, bellowing about unauthorized media and defamation. I stepped through the crowd, slow, steady. "This isn't libel," I said, voice like a blade. "It's Ivuai Denke." Her eyes locked on mine, and for the first time, I saw fear. "You assaulted my officers!" she spat. I laughed, short and cold. "Those weren't officers. They were thugs in cheap shirts. You assaulted a child. You terrorized families. You're not untouchable anymore." The neighbors didn't flinch. They stared her down, phones still rolling. Sheila's grip on her clipboard tightened, but no one backed her. Her reign was over. She'd lost the fear that propped her up. She stormed door to door, barking threats, fines, bans, park suspensions. It didn't work. Every slammed door, every phone in her face, chipped away at her crumbling throne. I wasn't just standing by anymore. I was organizing. We started a group, neighbors I barely knew, people Sheila had bullied for years. Stories flooded in. Mr. Chin, fined $500 for a flagpole. Mrs. Carter, threatened with foreclosure over a bird feeder. The Wilsons, hit with fees for unapproved hedges. All traced to Sheila. All signed by her. I called my friend, Laura Price, a civil rights lawyer with a bite. She listened, then whistled. This isn't just a bad HOA. It's extortion, impersonation, maybe mail fraud. I didn't smile. Good, I said. I'm not playing small. She laughed sharp. Document everything. We'll drag her through court. I kept forwarding Phyllis screenshots, recordings, each one a nail in Sheila's coffin. Sheila called an emergency HOA meeting, a desperate grab for control. Flyers screamed mandatory attendance and legal ramifications. I showed up early, leaning against the wall. Neighbors filed in, clutching phones, not notices. Sheila took the stage in a blinding white suit, lips curled into a sneer. You've seen the chaos of insubordination, she shrieked, voice cracking. Our community is under siege by criminals. Murmurs rippled, not agreement, disgust. She didn't notice, unraveling Liv. I'm invoking emergency governance. Full authority over fines, security. Footsteps cut her off. 2 sheriff's deputies pushed through the crowd, eyes cold. Sheila Voss, one said loud, clear. You're under arrest for impersonating a public official, extortion, and child endangerment. Gasps erupted. Sheila's clipboard hit the floor. You can't, she screamed, stumbling back. This is my community. I stepped forward, calm, unblinking. No, I said. You poisoned it. Handcuffs clicked louder than her screams. As they dragged her out, still howling about regret, I turned to the crowd. She ruled with fear. Now we build with something stronger. The applause started slow, then roared. The air shifted after Sheila's squad car vanished. Neighbors stood taller, phones now shields, not weapons. Mrs. Carter, once cowed by fines, raised her chin. Mr. Chin shook my hand hard. We called a town meeting the next day. Our rules, no threats. The paw vy lion overflowed. Kids sat on the grass, dogs barked free. I stood up front. No more kings, no more queens, I said. We need neighbors. Silence hummed, heavy, awake. We voted openly, HOA dissolved, fines voided, fake rules shredded. We wrote a new charter by flashlight. No policy trumps decency. Sheila's name was erased from every file, her signatures deleted like a VY Russ. 2 weeks later, a mural covered the paw vy lion's peeling wall. Noah stood beside me, clutching my hand, staring up. A boy pulled another from the lake, a cracked crown sinking behind them. Above, in bold white, we protect our own. Noah nodded, eyes fierce. It's the best thing I've drawn, he said. I smiled, real, unguarded. It's the best I've seen. The wind carried news sounds, kids laughing, bikes skidding, barbecue smoke curling free. Neighbors waved without fear. I knelt beside Noah. Are we safe now, Dad? He asked, eyes big. I met his gaze. Yeah, I said. Not because someone allowed it. Because we stood up. Because we fought. His smile was small, fierce. Sheila's name became a ghost, a warning whispered over fences. They say her files burned in a bonfire. I didn't watch. The real fire was here, kids running, dogs howling, flowers blooming just because. The fire was freedom. Noah tugged my sleeve, grinning. Race you to the dock. He bolted barefoot, hair wild. I followed, not chasing, just watching. We hadn't just saved our street. We'd reclaimed our right to live without fear, without permission. We protected our own. And no tyrant, no fake law, no Sheila in disguise would steal that again. Not while we remembered. Not while we stood together. Not while we had the guts to say, this is our home, and we'll never kneel.